Hello everyone. I'm going to skip introductions and go straight to solving our current problem of how to recover old War of Dots replays. So TN just released an update for War of Dots, and all of a sudden the replay files aren't working. Right? Some major significant updates have happened recently. 1.2.10 we have the infinite replays update, which changed a lot of things. You have infinite replays now that can be stored, and then 1.2.12 is just some various lag optimization, so the game just runs a lot faster and smoother now. So some great updates, by the way. And now if you go to your replay folder, all of a sudden your old replays don't work. What? Why do they work? Oh, I know why. Okay, I have to redo my replays again. Sorry. Um, so all of a sudden your replays don't work. And then yeah. So this is from the most recent replay. Okay, great, it's working. That's what it's supposed to look like. And this is what happens if we click on an old replay that's not showing up. It's TN changed this update. It used to say file not found, so he updated it. It said this replay might have been recorded on an older game version. This actually really helped me a lot to fix the problem, just because I didn't know what was going on. The problem is a lot easier than I thought. So how do we fix this? Well, I've written a very simple script that you could run to actually fix this specific problem. So if we go to my replay files, um, yeah, if we go to my replay files, you're going to see what's going on right now. So currently, whoa, what the frick? Why? Oh, there it is. Okay. So you'll see, um, so you see from my replays, anything past May 15th, which is the 1.2.12 update, is working. That's the Blocka fight. And then the ones before the May 15th update, so from May 2nd, the 1.2.10 version, those replays aren't working. So I've basically written a very basic script that will change the version from the past to the more recent version. And I'll release that code as well. So I'm going to go to my production environment, and you're going to see something called patchversion.py. And if we open that file, it's going to look something like this. Ignore all that. All it is going to take the old version, which is 1.2.10, and update it to 1.2.12, right? And then write all this code from line 1 to line 31 is important. Yeah, 31 just shows everything. The first three lines is basically package. You don't really need to know how it works, but to get it to work, you're going to need an IDE, and just type all this code out. Indentations do matter because it's Python. Um, so once you have that code, you're going to download Python. Um, so what you're going to have to do is go to python.org and download the latest Python version, right? 3.4.15. It doesn't really matter. Just press download, and then download any version, any working version. What that'll allow you to do is actually run the code that you just typed in the code editor, right? So it'll allow you to run this code. So once we have this code, we're going to go to our replays, right? We're going to grab the replays, but it doesn't really matter how much you could grab. You can grab all of them, or you could just grab the ones that aren't working and copy paste them into our production environment, or where we wrote our code. And so there's a lot of stuff, but really you only need that file, and you're going to need to create a folder called replay. Notice how I already have a folder called replay. Um, so I'm going to rename this to not replay, and we're going to create a new folder called replay. What that code basically will do is reach into the replay folder and search for any replay files and rename all of those versions. That's basically all that code is built to do. Whoops. So inside this replay folder, we're going to place our replay files, both the new one and the old one, right? So notice how it's state modified. 5.16 is from the new update. 5.11 is from the old update. And we already know that the old update is 1.2.10 just because you're looking at the dates and you know what version you're playing on. So now we're going to have to run the code. How do we do that? We're going to use terminal. So okay, let me clear all this out so you know how this works. So usually you're going to be on the C drive. You're going to be on the main drive. It's going to be E. You're going to be C, and you press enter. If you want to go onto the E drive, you you press E, and it'll automatically take you to the drive right here. It'll look something like this. Now, in the terminal, if you're looking for files, you need to open up a folder, right? Just like how you click on a folder and it opens it up, you need to go to the location where the folder is open. So in the File Explorer, since this is all in Windows, you're going to click on this, and that's going to give you the file path, right? So if you click on the top bar of the File Explorer, it'll give you the path to where that folder is. You're going to then in terminal type cd, which basically will just open that file, and the link that you copied, and paste that. That'll open up that folder structure, right? Once you're there, you type in cd and then the file path or location. You're going to type in, because you've already downloaded Python, and the name of the script, which is patch version, and then tab to complete it, .py, and then you press enter. Oh shoot. What? Ooh, that is... Okay, yeah, I don't... Oh, because I put a slash before Python. So notice how it's already updated, and it already recognizes that one is already the newest version, which is 1.2.12. Now let's go back to those replays and copy paste that into our replay folder. Notice how it says date modified, and it modified it to the most recent date. We're going to go back to our replay folder. And replace that with our new replays. It should say date modified. Oh no, it's still the old one. We're going to replace our old replays with these new replays. Go back to War of Dots. And go to our replay folder. And all of a sudden our old replays works. Now, I've actually tested this up to version, so we're currently on version 1.2.12, and I've tested this up to version 1.2.2. So quite a ways back. I think like early April, right? So yeah, 1.2.5, 1.2.4. I'm not going to continue scrolling down, but it should work for various older versions as well, just because of how it works. So really quickly, I'm going to show you how you would update it for a different version, right? Because we're only in version 1.2.10. So first off, let's say we're working with an older version, right? And if you don't have the date modified, you're looking for where the date is from. We're going to use a War of Replay viewer developed by Assassin on the War of Dots server. So you're going to go to this site, axer0e.dev, and he has a War of Dots replay viewer online, available online. What you're going to then do is open up your replay and choose whatever replay that you're working with. And notice mine's currently on 1.2.12, but you can click on any old version. Let's see, something like this one. Oh, it's still 1.2.12. I wonder if I could get a 1.2.4. 30? Nope, still 1.2.2. So I guess that's just a main version. Is it against Panda? No, 1.2.10. Anyway, I only have version 1.2.2 and 1.2.10, but it's all relatively the same thing. Okay, well, yeah, it's still version 1.2.2. Now, Assassin did a great job, actually, with visual replay on the web. He just needs to scale the map a little bit more, but he's already mapped all the dots and zone of control and the cities. So he did a really great job, I think, right? He even has a zoom and all that. But what we're looking for is we're going to be looking for that version number. Now, let's say we have a different version, or TNPython updated to an even newer version. What you're going to do is you're going to take that version number from the old file, and we're going to go back to that code right here that we have, right? The patch version.py. So notice how it says version old is 1.2.10, and the new version is 1.2.12. If Python patches it, we're going to change the version to whatever the new version patches. So let's say it goes to version 1.2.14, and it'll update all that. Now, I've hard-coded it so that's only looking for a specific version number, so I'm not going through every single version, like 1.2.2, 1.2. What are the version numbers? I have to look at Steam again. 1.2.10, 1.2.5, 1.2.6. I basically didn't look at all the version numbers and then like update it to the newest version because, you know, TNPython may continue to update, so, you know, you'll have to update this code manually. But if you want to update to a newer version, just change the new to new and make sure the older version is the version we're looking at. And we're going to look at version 1.2.2. So let's go back to our file replays and look at a version 1.2.2 file right here. So 1.2.2, and copy paste that and thing. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the replay folder behavior. So if we go to the War of Dots video game, right, game, and we go to the replay, those 1.2.2 versions don't show up. And that has to do with the fact that TN-Python made it so that after 3 days, old replays are deleted. It's interesting, if you want to save it, you hard it, but old replays are deleted after a certain amount of time. But when you update or patch the new version because of the date modified, it stays in your replay folder for 3 days until it's deleted again, unless you've harded it. That's the only reason why it'll stay. The reason why those old replay files stayed is because I harded the files, which is interesting. So yeah, if you want to save your files, definitely heart your replay files, yeah, just yeah, heart your replay files, and so it's all disappeared, right? Notice that the replays that we pasted in just don't appear. It has nothing to do with the replay names. It just has to do with the fact that the replays are too old. So we're going to take those replays and we're going to move them into our code, right? We're going to run that file again, right? We're going to paste these two files from before 1.2.10. So we're going to use the 1.2.2 version. As I said before, you're going to want to go to that site and get that version number from your file, or just verify it, and then change the code properly. So we're going to change the old version to 1.2.2 and the new version to the most recent update, which is 1.2.12. Control S to save that file, and then you're going to run it again in terminal. There are many various ways to run it, but I'm just showing you one that I usually use. Run that same thing Python in patch version.py. So notice how all the past versions that have updated, it already recognizes that it's 1.2.12, and it'll update all the old version replays. Now we're going to go back to our replay folder, open it up, copy that, and paste it into our replay folder. Yeah, replace those files because it wasn't opening. And if we go to War of Dots, refresh the replay folder, we have our old replays now perfectly working from a previous version. And now I can actually go into what's going on and all that. So yeah, if you want a quick solution of how to solve your replay files, that's it. Now I get to talk about the fun part of like experimentation and what's actually going on. So let's talk about what replay files actually are. So you play Fortnite, or if you play Fortnite, Rocket League, or video games, they will generate. They all use replay files. And all replay files are all the action that you've taken, right? Like if you move somewhere, if you press WASD, or if you've clicked somewhere on the mouse or somewhere on the screen, it'll save that into a specific file. And then they'll take all those instructions and run it in the game. So each replay file is very specific to a specific game, and it'll run on a game engine. If you actually try to open up a replay file, like a text file, it'll look something like this. It's complete nonsense and gibberish. Your Notepad or Notepad++ or your Visual Studio Code editor won't be able to open it up. In order to open up a replay file, because it's in a binary format, we're going to use something called a hex editor, right? So if we open up the file in a replay file, whoops, let me just delete these. If we open up a replay file, yeah, it's going to say it uses unsupported text encoding. We're going to use this. So if we use a text editor, it's going to look like gibberish. Whoops. And if we use a hex editor, it's going to look something like this. Now, mostly it's gibberish, but as you can see here, you can already see some readable text, right? So this is what it looks like in a hex editor, and the rest is still unreadable. The reason why it's unreadable is because it's compressed in like gzip and whatever. But if you do decompress it, you're going to get a JSON or a CSV. Is going to look something like this, right? It's going to tell you the map number. It's going to tell you the players. This is all in this compressed file, gzip, LZ77 or whatever their data compression is, and it'll give you all these sorts of instructions. This is it as a JSON file. And if we go to a CSV, which is just much easier to look at, it'll give you the tick number, the unit that's being moved, and the location that's being clicked, right? So this is Tick just means frames per second. So because it's running at 30 frames per second. This is at second 3. This unit is moving in this direction, and it goes to this point. So this is all what's inside a replay file. And what people have done, right, like Assassin from the Discord server, is played a replay viewer to view what actually happened in the match, right? I'm pretty sure he might be using the War of Dots API or whatever and hitting that up. And he has all these files and whatnot. He has all the maps and whatever on his server, right? That's why he's able to deploy this website, right? And you can see the players, you can see the version, the map number, and all that. So each map number corresponds to a specific map on Fajero Maps. So if you pick a map, it'll automatically replay. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm using his version number. I actually created my own replay version, but it's not as clean. So it's in the production environment. I built a local version, which is an HTML file, and all it does is track movements. I haven't actually done the dots or whatever, but it shows the maps. It could open up a replay folder and it could load specific replays, which is nice. Let me change the replays, I guess. Whoops. Oh, because those are default. So yeah, so these are various replays, and you can see it's from version 1.2.2 because those are the replays. That's the version that I played on. And see all that, you can see all the actions. Very similar, but Assassins is a little bit more further along and developed. Yeah, I can show you some of my previous versions of how I'm trying to get trying to get my old versions to my old replay versions to work. So here's my attempt with dots, trying to map it. So blue dots and red dots. The map scaling is always a big issue, and you still need to use zone of control in cities. So maps are usually blank. If you want to get the dots, I had to screenshot that. That's why whatchamacallit. Assassin had to manually, add city positions. I haven't really figured out city positions and funds and whatnot, so that's not there yet. Here's some of my previous versions, right? Mapping the actual actions onto the map. I have an attempt at trying to map out the motions of the dots, which is not very good. You could still see that the tick rate is actually no. This is a working tick rate. I think this is the one where the tick rate's not working. It's progressing at 30 frames per second instead of 1 frame per second. So eventually we get to somewhere here where the tick rate is finally proceeding at the correct rate, and then you have like speed controls, up and down speed controls, and spacebar. So yeah, that's basically it for replay files. Like if you want to know more on how replay files work, I would recommend something like this. A lot of people have worked with replay files before, Command and Conquer. There's been a couple projects to decode replay files and this binary format, and trying to figure out what the code is actually doing. So it's kind of just decoding, which I thought was interesting. This guy OpenStage did a great job on decoding all that and trying to figure out how it works. But if you just want to get your old replay files to work, you just need to update the version and run that Python code, and it'll work fine. Did I ever explain it properly? I think I did, but I'll just reiterate everything again. So when you have that code, make sure you create a replay file folder, and it'll read everything in that replay file folder. The code has to be ahead. Theoretically, I can make an exe file, but the problem is if TNPython keeps updating the version, you will have to manually update that, and you can't really do that with an exe file. Exe will always change the same thing. So that's the reason why I made it a Python code. So you can manually change the version number to the correct version. So yeah, that's really about it. The HTML file is for personal use, I guess, and then hopefully might use that in the future. And then obviously, hopefully, Assassin develops his replay viewer. So check out Assassin's replay viewer. It's really cool. And I think that's about it for how to fix or how to recover old replay files.